SA, tell me, what needs to change for the Lakers?
Well, like he said, a lot. They were pretty awful. First of all, let's understand something here. Joel Embiid had a triple-double in 3 quarters against Anthony. Where's Anthony Davis? Where's Anthony Davis? I mean, that's number one. Because when you're going up against Joel Embiid, you're supposed to do something to remind the basketball world, you know what, I'm an elite big man in this game. And the best way to do it, Shannon, is to go up against the reigning league MVP who happens to be a 7'1" big man, arguably one of the most, without question, one of the most talented big men this game has ever seen.
Correct.
One of the most elite big men the game of basketball has ever seen in Joel Embiid. So let's just get that out the way. That's number one. Number two, 76 is 47.8% from three-point range, hitting 22 of their 46 3-points. Where's your three-point defense? I'd like to know the answer to that question. So let's get that out the way. That's number two. Number three is this interesting stat, Shannon, that I looked up here right here. Do you know that the Lakers are dead last in the NBA in second chance points per game at 9.4? Meanwhile, they're dead last in the NBA in opponent second chance points
And I
at
believe
18.
in second chances.
So they double up. So in other words, again, there's somebody that believes in second chances. Clearly, the Lakers do. They believe in second chances for everybody but themselves.
Second and third, too.
Yeah, how about that? And so you take all of those things into consideration. It's just one game.
Yes.
It's the regular season.
Yes.
But when you roll up on the road and it ends up being the worst loss of the illustrious career of LeBron James, you know that's problematic. Particularly, it's one thing to point to the threes, and they were hitting threes, and the Lakers were only hitting 25% of their threes, 7-28 for the game. But to me, again, I'm looking for somebody other than LeBron James to be able to stop the bleeding when they're bleeding. And last night was the latest example of them being devoid of a person who is willing to do that.
I can't say that I disagree with anything that you said, but I don't want to overreact. I think right now, Stephen A., I'm not so sure the Lakers are not putting more emphasis on the in-season tournament than they are these regular season games. Remember, they're 4-0 in the in-season tournament games.
Right.
And with an opportunity to win that, I think that's going to speak volume. We remember last year, they started off how bad they started off last year, Stephen A., and they still were able to make the playoffs, and not only make the playoffs, advance to the Western Conference Finals. So I don't want to get too carried away. But what's happening is kind of the same thing that happened last year. Let's see when Vando gets back and Benson get back. Can they stop some of this bleeding? Because what's killing them is dribble penetration. Because the guys are getting into the lane and they're kicking the wide open threes. Now, the Sixers made 13 threes in the first half.
Okay.
And at some point in time, you can't say, okay, they're not going to continue to shoot. Because clearly that night, they had it going. They made 22. And so you could see guys were getting into the lane, and it cost them a game against the Mavericks. Because what did Austin Reeves do? Luka got to the lane, he kicked it to Kyrie, and Kyrie drilled a three. And so at some point in time, you're just going to have to tell the guy, hey, guy, bro, you got him today. I can't help you. Because what's happening, Tyrese Maxey had it going. Joel Embiid is going to have it going regardless because he's going to get to the free throw line 20 times a night. So even if you do a great job on him, he's done a great job of being able to fool the refs and to making them think you're fouling him, even sometimes when you're not. So I don't want to overreact, Stephen A., but it was a horrible loss. LeBron, this is the first time in almost 14 years LeBron has played what he played and didn't have a rebound. Now, there weren't a whole lot of rebounds to grab because they didn't miss, but you got to give me one.
Well, listen, you got LeBron James. He's your leading scorer at 18. Nobody scores over 18 points, and LeBron James had 18.
Right.
That's kind of pathetic.
Right.
That's number one, because even though they're making shots, what's stopping you from making some shots?
But he only took like 12.
I understand that, but what I'm talking about is the team. I'm not talking about LeBron James. I'm talking about the rest of the Lakers. What stopped you from making sure that you were efficient offensively? And I think we got to take a moment right now to give some love to the Philadelphia 76ers in this regard. Things have changed in Philadelphia. Maxey has elevated his level of play. The level of chemistry that you were looking for them to have, the addition by subtraction, because clearly not having James Harden there is helping Maxey, it's helping Tobias Harris, it's helping the rest of them. Joel Embiid is still looking like a league MVP. Let's get that out the way. Nick Nurse has elevated the pace of play for the Philadelphia 76ers. So it's one thing for Maxey to play at a particular speed, because he always does. But it's another thing entirely for collectively as a unit, as a team, They push the pace. And so you've got Joel Embiid. Everybody knows to go to Joel Embiid when it's time. But you got Joel Embiid encouraging other cats to take shots.
Right.
Take the shots. I gave you the ball for a damn reason. Push the ball up the floor, be in attack mode, and take those shots. Nick Nurse has got them playing a brand of basketball that is working for the Philadelphia 76ers. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see how Boston and Milwaukee respond to that challenge. I was at the game last week when Philly played Boston, and
right.
Boston, they had lost to Philly the week before, came back, beat them in a thriller a couple of weeks ago, Wednesday rather, 2 weeks ago from tomorrow. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, look, man, I got to pay attention to this. Philadelphia is coming. I got to give them their respect.
Right. Well, they got a big man that can dominate. Nobody has an answer in the NBA, let alone the Eastern Conference for Joel Embiid. So that goes without saying. He's going to probably give you somewhere around 30 and 10, 30 and 12. Okay, now Tyrese Maxey looks to be a budgeting superstar. He's a star, budgeting superstar. But Stephen A., do you believe they're going to make 22 threes? You believe they're going to make somewhere between 15 and 20 threes a night? I don't.
Right.
I think that was an aberration last night. Give them credit. Seemingly the Lakers took their foot off the gas. Once they see they weren't going to come back, they emptied their benches, and the Sixers bench is like, this is our opportunity. We're probably not going to get this many
But you're
minutes
speaking
again.
collectively. What I'm saying to you is, what about a guy like Anthony Davis going against a reigning league MVP that plays your position, and he drops a triple-double on you personally in three quarters? What about that, Shannon?
You're right. You're right. And all the publications that I've been reading and what I've been reading is Anthony Davis is the Defensive Player of the Year thus far. He's averaging about 3 blocks a game. He's giving you 12 rebounds a game. But last night, you saw the size advantage. You saw the weight advantage. Joel Embiid, he was allowing Joel Embiid to catch the ball too deep. What you going to do with that man? The man's 7'2", 300 pounds. He gets you on his backside, it's over.
I also saw Joel Embiid in the lane with the footwork, shooting fadeaway jump shots. I saw him pulling up for a 3. I saw him putting the ball on the floor and driving by Anthony Davis as well. Let's not act like he just put his backside on Anthony Davis, and that is what happened, Shannon.
He will not tolerate fans saying anything personal about him or his family after engaging in a heated exchange with a fan at the end of the Clippers' loss. Here's Russ on not taking any nonsense.
It's unfortunate fans think they can get away with saying anything, and I won't allow it. I've took a lot of, people saying anything and, getting away with it, but I won't stand for it.
Talk to me. What's your reaction to all that?
I'm disappointed that Russell Westbrook is in these situations. I want to say that. I'm not blaming him. I want to make sure I'm emphasizing that. There are fans that go a bit too far.
Yes.
There are fans that say things out of pocket. And in Russell Westbrook's defense, they say stuff they would never say to his face if you didn't have people as intermediaries blocking stuff. If they had to confront him,
you saw him walking down the street, you wouldn't say what you said to him in the game.
There you go. You would not do that. And so you got a whole bunch of punks out there that would be that way. I'm not calling that particular fan one. I'm just saying that you got a whole bunch of punks that's in the stands that are paying customers. Having said that, here's where my problem is with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is a gazillion times better as a human being than people realize.
Yeah.
But the reason people don't realize it is because of him. Because he wears this chip on his shoulder where it's the media, it's the fans, and to him, everyone's against him.
But he had some crazy incidents where they were like threatening his family.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Well, we know that they were wrong about that, and he was right. In Philadelphia, somebody throwing popcorn on him. In Utah, that fan saying something to him. Yeah, I have no doubt that Russell
Westbrook, safety's been threatened, you kind of feel
Russell Westbrook, but in his situation, last night wasn't about his safety being threatened. And the fact of the matter is that you have situations, and look right there, somebody touched him and he swung like that. It's like you just look at him and you just say to yourself, listen, Russell Westbrook contributes a lot to his community. He's very philanthropic. He's very charitable with his time, his effort, his energy. He's conscientious. He's a conscientious observer. He's an all-around good brother that is about so much more than people realize. And if Russell Westbrook took the time to really let you know who he was and who he was about, the appreciation for him, Molly, Shannon, would elevate to such extremes you would not. I don't really talk to Russell Westbrook and all of that other stuff. He's not an enemy or anything like that. You know, he's always been respectful to me the whole bit, but we don't really rap like that. He's one of the best brothers you could find in professional sports. It's just hard to see it because his shield, he keeps it inside, he hides it, he protects it, and sometimes that makes him a target.
Right.
And I wish he saw that sometimes.
Yeah, I think sometimes fans realize they realize that Russ is easily triggered.
Right.
And so sometimes I think they come to the game, Molly,
they bait him.
That to try to get that. We saw Shaq Lawson and a couple of guys with the Buffalo Bills get into it because they say they felt their family was being threatened. They felt that the fans were saying things out of pocket. You're talking to a guy that went to a Laker game, and I had my run-in with the Memphis Grizzlies. Right. And it wasn't so much what I said is that I'm the adult in the room, Stephen A. Right. I'm supposed to turn the temperature down. So no matter what was said to me, I'm supposed to bite the bullet. Right. But I do get that sometimes you have to understand, like in a football game, people go 2 hours before the game, and they have a couple of cocktails.
Right.
And they
parties.
Throughout the entirety of the game. And so now all of a sudden I see a football player, well, he don't look that big. I think I can take him. You sorry, you know what? Your mama this and your kids that. Now we got a problem.
Right.
Now we got a problem. But in Russ' situation, Stephen, I think you're right. I think because he wears his emotions on his sleeve, he ain't going to take no slight.
None.
He ain't letting nothing pass.
Nothing.
You talk about his wife, you talk about his kid.
And that's what I think he's saying.
You saying
he's
something out of pocket,
right.
he going to step to you.
Right.
So what I've learned in that situation, fans, look, I don't care. We got to stop this notion, Stephen A., because this is what fans think.
Right.
Guy makes $50 million, I should be able to say what the hell I want to say.
You cannot.
No. You make what you make. People don't come to your job and abuse you. That's why I get upset when people go to the service industry and feel like they go to these fast food restaurants and you can say whatever, you can throw whatever you want to. No, don't do that.
That's right.
Just because someone makes a lot of money, it doesn't mean that you can verbally abuse them.
Yeah.
Right. Let me say this, though. You're absolutely right. And some people, to be, as my man Joe Madison would say, put it where the goats can get it. Some people deserve their ass kicked. No question about it. No question about it. Right? And we're not condoning violence, but sometimes people can bring it on themselves.
We understand.
Having said that, here's the issue, though. There are times where if somebody said something to you, right? Then tell us what they said.
Right.
And we don't hear that. When I was in Indianapolis and they went at Allen Iverson, I was standing in the tunnel when the dude spewed the N-word at him. I was standing right there. I heard it. You see what I'm saying? So when Allen Iverson said what the guy said, I mean, I was an eyewitness to it. My point is, a lot of times you see guys and they'll say the fan said something. Well, what exactly did they say? Because if they offended you that much.
Maybe he doesn't want to expose it or they offended his
family. You got to expose it.
No, but what if they said something about his wife or his family? He doesn't
say that.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to add more attention to it.
Sometimes, in other words, if you're going to get yourself in the lion's den like that, people need to know why. They need to know what triggered you. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
I don't fault him.
I agree.
I think he's just
but like I said,
no one's going to talk to me any type of way or talk to me crazy, and that's what it is.
Because the players really don't be saying anything.
All right.